People spend years in guilt and shame for things that they've done. And they carry around baggage. And when I see people come into my practice in my clinic, I see people carrying these things for years on end. I'm Dr. Steve, and I'm going to show you 5 simple ways that you can start to take a look at that situation differently and start to clear out some of the guilt and shame that you carry around with you. Most people don't really know what guilt is. It's this concept or idea that they say, I feel guilty, but they can't define it. I'm going to help you to define it first. So first, let's define it. So the definition of guilt is that we have done something, said something, or not done something that has had more negative consequences than positive consequences. So that's kind of the definition, a working definition of guilt. We've done something that's yielded worse outcomes than it has positive outcomes. And when we have a perspective like that, we get frozen in that, and we aren't able to move forward on it because we feel guilty that we've caused more harm than more pain than pleasure, or more harm than good. So we carry that around as guilt. And so these steps are designed to help you to see with greater clarity what exactly was going on in that moment. Because that moment that you were performing that activity or not doing something is the cause of your guilt. I was speaking with a woman the other day. I was coaching with her, and she was asking me some questions, and she was saying, can I work through some of this guilt? And I said, of course, let's look at it. Let's take a look. And so she was saying that she, used to have a really good relationship with her brother, but that she now hasn't called him, and it's been a really long period of time that she's contacted him. She always used to be the one that communicated with him, and now she's not. And so she's disengaged and disconnected, and because of her inaction, she's feeling guilty about that. And now she's carrying around, this is going on 4, 5, 6, 7 years as we've gone on, that she's experiencing this guilt. So she asked to consult with me and say, can we do some work on that? These are the steps that I'm going to be pursuing and working with her on, and I want to share those with you. So the first thing is, let's identify exactly what you're feeling guilty about. Because what she had said to me was, I'm feeling guilty, I haven't called him, and he has all these challenges and all these problems, and he's addicted to this, and he's having problems in there. And I said, okay, whoa. What's going on with him actually isn't relevant. What are you feeling guilty about? Oh, well, I'm feeling guilty that I haven't called him. Perfect. So that's the starting point. Identify exactly what you're feeling guilty about. It has nothing to do with their story, their circumstance, or what's going on with them. It doesn't have to do, those are some consequences you might associate with your inactions or actions, but it doesn't really have anything to do with you and your guilt. So let's take a look exactly what you're feeling guilty about. Number 2 is, I want you to write down the downsides. So by you not engaging in something or you doing something that you feel guilty about, what are the downsides to that? And I want you to identify what those downsides are. The third step is, once you have those downsides covered, I want you to write down what are the upsides to that individual. You see, when you focus on the downsides and you have this association in your nervous system with all these downsides, the body starts to create these stress hormones and these tensions in the body because the mind's becoming polarized to these downsides that you're experiencing. So you're stacking these things on and on and on, over and over and over, and often years and years and years of stacked negatives because of your actions or inactions. So you're going to identify the downsides. Now what we're going to start to do is you're going to start to chip away at potentially what the upsides are. With this girl as an example, I said, what are the upsides of you not calling him and contacting? Okay, well, the upsides is he was forced to be more independent. I didn't take on as much burden every day calling him and talking to him. Okay, there's the upsides. So you get rolling with some of the upsides, and it's going to take a little momentum because you're starting from an inertia So we want to create a little bit of momentum, just start to chip away at some of the simple upsides that might be present because of your inaction or actions that you're taking that you feel guilty about. So now what we're doing inside the mind is we're starting to balance the downsides that you have stacked, and we're starting to chip away at adding the upsides to that. And eventually what we want to do is we want to move towards something where we feel more equilibrium. When the mind is equilibrated, that's where love and gratitude can emerge. So most people don't realize that, the opposite of guilt, when you clear it, is that you experience gratitude and you're not trying to change the situation. You're not looking to do anything different. The desire for it to be different is not there. And so that's really when you know you've cleared guilt out, is when there's no desire for it to be any different. And when you're grateful for the way that it is, that means there's no guilt. So I want you to hit the big red button so that you could subscribe to our weekly videos. We have lots of information for you. Head on over to StephenFonso.com where we have more information for you there.